So I thought I'd do a quick 1 year, if you will, a review on the Guerrilla Gravity Smash that I got. This video is not, I'm not paid anything by GG. This is just my own opinions about the bike itself and what it's done for me. You can weave in and out of here. One thing, if you don't know anything about GG, Guerrilla Gravity, go check them out. They do a ton of different component setups within every level and series of their bikes. So if there's something specific you like, they probably can put it on there for you, and it's no special other than what you're going to pay for the components. I came off of a Moto-Cane and then went to a modern geometry with this bike. Been riding almost, well, it'll be 3 years in August. The modern geometry and the bike itself overall made a massive difference in my riding ability and confidence, mostly confidence. The way that the cockpit is set up in the distance and the bottom bracket being way lower than it was on the Moto-Cane, I could tell and felt an immediate difference. So this is just going to be as quick as I can, but a simple breakdown of what I got on the bike originally and the things that I've changed since then, and some of the reasons why. Any changes that I've made, they've been because of progression in my riding ability and trying to get that extra little bit, which is surprising to me because I never understood how much complexity went into a mountain bike or a bike in general. But what I'll do is I'll start breaking these things down from the front to the back and try to, I don't know all the components and what I do and don't have perfectly, so I'll try to list all that, what I originally had on the bike when I got in the description, as well as any of the upgrades that I've made, so that you have a reference. On the front and the rear and the tires and the rims, they came with Sunringles Duroc 30 comps, great rims, solid hubs that were on those as well. And they did me well. But with so much rock climbing out here and technical riding, especially on the climbing piece, I just recently, within the last month, went to a Industry 9 wheel with the 1-to-1 or the 101 hub. About 90 or so, I think, points of engagement, a little bit more than that. Not quite as great high as the Hydro, which is almost unlimited, and or the 102-degree spank. But they have 6 paws in this, and it is on the XD drive, which I went to. So with the wheels so far, I think I've ridden it a couple of times with them on the new wheels. Feel good. The engagement definitely feels better. I just haven't done any technical climbing yet with them to really see if the engagement is dramatically different. I think it will be, just from what I feel already. So the brakes, 200mm on front and back, SRAM. The brakes themselves are the Code Rs. I didn't change those. Those are exactly what I had. I've done no bleeding, no adjustment, nothing to the brakes since I've had it for a year. They've been phenomenal. I came from Shimano on the Moto-Cane, but the SRAM feels, the modulation obviously is a little bit different, not as smooth. That's probably the one thing I do miss with the Shimanos, but nothing that for my riding style and my skill set that I've noticed any concerns with. I've been very happy with the Code Rs. As it relates to the fork, it's a DVO Diamond 2, the D2. Love this fork, especially for what I need it for in this area. I've literally made very little adjustments. I just messed with the rebound recently, but right from GG's setup with me, it's rode great for the last year. Again, if I've done any small adjustment, it's sometimes I've adjusted the firmness, but I just like I said, just recently did the rebound, and I'm going to start testing that to see if I feel anything. I've played with it and tried to get a little bit more response out of it. But overall, been extremely happy with the DVO, or the Diamond DVO. The handlebars came with RaceFace, and I switched them about, I don't know, 4 months ago to the PNW Range. Wanted something a little bit more of a lift, so this went from a 20mm rise to a 30, as well as these are supposed to be a little bit more ergonomic, and have a tad bit more flex in them on a 35mm bar. And I have to say, I did feel a pretty immediate difference. I rode this right after I put it on in the Pueblo video, which is a lot of shale rock, a lot of rock, and felt the difference immediately, and I love them. Going to the grips, went to the PNW grips. It's their large, so it's the thickest diameter. I really like a thick diameter grip. I would highly advise, if anybody's interested in wanting a larger diameter grip, go with the PNWs. And the grip on them, the fatigue, I never get fatigued in my hands or in my arms. So, and match that with the PNW Range handlebars, on point. This is the standard stem, came with the bike. I think this is an EThirteen 50mm. I went with the 50 because that's what I had before, and because I can switch the headstock to reduce my reach, I went with the 50 just to be safe. But the 50 feels good. I'm gonna soon I'm gonna swap this out and reduce my reach about 10mm. So I'm gonna try that and see how that feels. I've been reading recently on this is a size 3, and I've been reading recently that people that switch to the shorter reach feel way better. So I'm gonna try to do that and see how that feels. But right now, it's always been great. It's been wonderful, and I felt extremely comfortable on it. So the shifting and the drivetrain was all SRAM NX Eagle. So the controls are the NX series Eagle technology. 12 speed. I had the 11 through 52 on it previously. Recently, because I went to the rims that I've gone to with the X Drive, and it went away from the XG, I had to upgrade my cassette in the back, so I went to the GX cassette in the rear. I already could tell immediately that the shifting was smoother. So, and I haven't done a whole lot of riding on it, but the shifting is definitely smoother. So far, it's got an NX derailleur. I didn't switch that when I went to the GX cassette. The NX works perfectly fine. I've had some small adjustments with it, but mostly because I've hit my derailleur a couple times on rocks, so it's forced me to do some small adjustments. Mostly the adjustments have come because I've hit my derailleur. A lot of rocks out here. Even then, very small adjustments. I broke bent the bracket once, replaced that, and have had no problems. But overall, that drivetrain has just worked great. And now combine that with what I've done with the hubs and more engagement, I'm really excited to see what it does on the climbing now. I feel like my climbing's been pretty good, especially moving to a modern geometry bike. Overall, I definitely have increased my abilities to climb. And now that this hub is on here, I'm really excited to see what difference it makes. The cranks themselves, 175mm cranks. I think they're a little long, especially when I first got the bike. It's always definitely with the modern geometry, bottom back being a little lower than my old bike. I was hitting rocks a lot. Not so bad so far, but because I've gotten used to it. But in the future, I might go with shorter cranks once I have the bike a little longer. So this is not the original shock. The original was a Shox Deluxe Plus. Great shock, worked perfectly fine. Air shock, had no problems with it. I couldn't lock the shock out, and all the climbings that I do out here really didn't make a massive difference or issue with me climbing. But I saw this online through Facebook and got an incredible deal on it, so I just went with it. Came off the same year bike basically as I have now, but it gave me the DPX2 for inexpensive price. Now I can lock it out. I've got the piggyback up here. I already put a new token in. Jumped it a couple times. My last video was the jump video. I had this on. Feels good, but I've only done a couple rides on it, the jumping rides and one small little ride in some trails. So I haven't really done a lot of riding on it, but I think it's going to make a big difference. Especially, I've got a lot more adjustments out of here, and my rebound is definitely a bigger difference, as well as I can lock the shock out. Seat is the STS GG branded seat. I love it. One of these days I'll probably go to something when the bike gets a little older, give me a little bit more flex in here and Centerline missing, lighter maybe. but no big deal. And then the SDG dropper post works great. I don't have any issues with this. It's been, I keep it oiled like anything else, and like the forks and the shocks. But so far this works really well. It's a 150. If I had this to do again at 5'10", a little around 5'10", 5'11", probably go with a 170 in the future. That way it would allow me to get it almost all the way down to the top of the seat post or the seat tube. Overall, again, geometry of the bike, top notch. Smash, exactly what I needed, and I'm glad I got it. But there you have it. I hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment. I'd be happy to answer them for you. For some newbie like me that's in his 50s, started riding, I'll give you what I know. Hope you got something out of this. This is definitely the hard stuff for me, is speaking in front of a camera. And this is just no script, no nothing. I'm just talking. So as always, thanks for tagging along, and we'll see you on the trail.